guys think anyone else is coming? I think we can start the show. Maybe we can start off with what happened this week. I can go first. Not a whole lot on the Giveth front. I mean, a lot of research, like not a whole lot of real action, direct action, but a lot of research and a lot of introductions to really cool people. Talked with the Ratty Card people about the potentials. Talked with, a bunch of token bonding curve curation market research people. And, the Aragon conference was really fun. I got to present a couple times, and also hanging out at GirlyCon right now and just really doing mostly the social side of things. But it's been pretty productive. A little bit of DApp action, like as in making some issues and things like that. But in general, pretty easy, fun week. I'm sure I did a bunch of other things, but I'm not in the headspace to really remember these things. So I'll pass it to Chris.
Yeah, similar to Griff. So it's been Aracon and now GirlyCon, which sounds so funny in English. And so talking to many people. I've been tweeting a bit, mostly with my own account, about Aracon, and reading up and listening to the conference mostly this week. And I think the most productive things that I still want to do is going to be like tomorrow and on Saturday for sure. So and my intentions. So a bit. I cannot recollect anymore or find my words to list up what else I have worked on. And and I just did push a text on that Adam has written after reviewing it for the data fund, Fair Data Society. So feel welcome to like and read and retweet. My intentions are just to have an efficient, not too long meeting because I still have to go check in my Berlin Airbnb, and I give it to Michael.
Great, thanks, Chris. So, so slightly distracted by this document that Loie just sent. I'm trying to read it while we have this meeting. It's great that she shared it. This week, I have been totally distracted with this event that will be happening at McGill on now. The new absolutely confirmed date is March 29th. I have confirmed every speaker except for Ethan Wilding, who was, I think, just busy because he confirmed before last week. So I had to spend a little bit of extra time on that this week because it was starting to fall off the rails because I hadn't given it the love it needed. So now it's been getting lots of love and everything's looking absolutely outstanding. Just this morning I reached out to Mozilla. I looked at the calendar, found gaps in our calendar where people aren't at Aracon and stuff. So hopefully we'll get a reply back from Mozilla about that event that we've all talked about. I shared that with Chris. Just posted something also. This is kind of interesting, that there is interest to create a social impact blockchain accelerator in Canada, which would be the first one in Canada. And this could be a separate Lumio discussion, but there's definitely an opportunity. Depends on what you guys think, but there's an opportunity there for Giveth to kind of play some kind of role. So that could be somehow using DApp through the accelerator. That could be playing an advisory role. That could be steering funds towards projects that we think might be useful in the kind of blockchain social impact space that are needed. Everything is open right now, and I'm the one who pitched it, so we can steer it however we want to. And these folks are very keen on doing it, so I think it may become an announcement at the event. And also had some discussions with Josh last week, just about governance models and just providing some feedback to him about where he can play an a role in the Giveth ecosystem. And I'll pass it over to Kai.
Hey, that sounds awesome, Michael. I think you're spot on with your suggestions for that accelerator. I think it's in good hands in your mind, which I don't know if that makes sense. So, of course, this week, Aracon, it's very hard to really make sense of it all in a condensed form in terms of what I did. Lots of connections, bringing new people in, spreading the word, having crazy interesting discussions with people. I will be quite some follow up work to do, and like I said, I still have to order this within me. um, yeah, apart from that, little stuff like supporting Jeff with this token bonding curve simulation stuff, and that's basically what I did. We do have lots of talks here, like between each other, but like the purpose is to always bring the information forward. So I think we can do that in this community meeting. So nothing has been decided without the consensus of the group, but it is nice to talk in depth about stuff. I hope I can see Michael and Bowen sometime soon. Yeah, and I don't want to I don't want to go too long, so my intention is to go through the Lumios. I actually have to vote still on the depth, so I'm gonna be distracted for the next 2 minutes. But yeah, cool. Let's have a great meeting, and it looks like I'm the last one, right?
Bowen.
Oh, Bowen, I give it to Bowen.
Yeah, I have to go. How's it going, guys? I had a pretty crazy, distracting weekend that led into this week, so that I'd rather not talk about. However, this week I realized that if you're not constantly coding, you start to forget what you're doing. So I've in prep for East Denver been brushing up on that. I have a new version of the bridge monitor that RJ is going to take a look at as soon as he has time. Working with Frederick on the new calendar command that we have for the Giveth bot. So if you type !cal or calendar in channel, or if you just pop over to social coding, you can see that the Giveth bot now responds to a calendar command, which pulls from our Google Calendar all of the multi-day events like hackathons or conferences hosted in the channel. There's another version of it that comes after that allows for per channel things that if we sort of put tags in the calendar events, you'll be able to like have things for the governance channel or social coding showing where the next sync meetings are and things like that. So there's some new ideas and stuff going into the bot. I also started trying to take a little bit of ownership of the social coding message, because somebody even came into channel and said, hey, what is this channel about? I don't understand. The thing at the top doesn't make any sense. So I changed that and continuing to work on that. I too will be distracted by the voting on the DApp prioritization, but that shouldn't take very long. And I think I am actually the last one, so I'll give it back to you, Griff.
Party time. Excellent. We got a fun governance meeting. There is, of course, community meeting. Thank you, Chris. Old habits, man. But yeah, so the community meeting we have, maybe we should change where it is to like the Jitsi. Maybe we should give it that community. I don't think I need to make a Lumio. I'll just make that happen next time. But yeah, so we have 3 Lumios, and actually I only think we need to talk about one because but it's worth mentioning the other ones. First, there's a weekly DApp prioritization. So it sounds like a lot of you guys are working on that right now. There's Lorelei created a Lumio about changing the Unicorn DAC's funding request from the anonymous donation, and it had 100% acceptance. So not necessary to talk about unless you guys want to. And then, but there was, for mine also, probably don't need to talk about it, but like it was very similar to Unicorn DACs, but at least it had 1 abstain, 1 out of 3. So Um, we can talk about that if you guys want. And we can also do it really quickly. That's where I'd like to start, unless there's any objections. Okay, so basically the Lumio that I proposed was that the Giveth DApp, we said 50-50 because I knew I needed about 100 ether to like fulfill Kai's milestone and Bowen's milestone and some other milestones that weren't there yet. But then when I looked at the DApp and looked at actually once I fulfilled them, we still had a fair amount of ether left over from the Laraz thing and some other ether that had been donated earlier. So I still have a bunch of ether and I have 0 Dai. So there is like 10 ether left over, and the proposal that hasn't been already donated to the DApp that's supposed to be donated in ether. So the proposal is to turn that 10.7 ether into Dai and bring it and donate it with the rest of the Dai. And then I also just detailed what I did for transparency's sake for turning the ether into Dai. So the proposal is that I turn this 10.7 ether into Dai and put it in the DApp. Any clarifying questions? Cool. Reaction round. Who wants to start?
I have a clarifying question actually.
Okay.
No, sorry, skip it for now. Sorry.
Well,
okay.
you want to do reaction?
Yeah, sure. I think it's it makes complete sense. And the thing that I wanted to ask is like when I read the Lumio proposal, I was a little bit confused about like how the you said something that you were slowly doing it to get like the best rate. And are you still gonna do that or not? So it's still a bit of a clarifying question. But the thing of like doing it, I'm all for it, of course. And I give it to Kai.
Alrighty, just sorting the debt issues. Great work, Mike. As usual, love that style. So I want to say, like I just wrote in the Lumio, yeah, I'm all for the proposal. Like I think Griff is usually thinking about these things very heavily. I don't want to take too much of his time. So in regard of the slow trickle, whatever. So yeah, I agree with the proposal. I also said like privately would probably go for a CDP, seeing that Ether is at the price it is, but I don't know if that makes sense with this amount of money. Just saying that privately I would probably do that, but I will just listen to the experts, him.
You can pass it.
And I pass it to Michael.
I don't have much to say. I agree with. I just agree with the proposal, basically. I haven't really thought of it too much. It just made sense to me. So I will pass it to Bowen.
I think that it's safe enough to try. So I'm okay with it. I think that.
Okay. Lorelai?
Yeah, I didn't actually read this proposal, but I'm guessing it's basically the same as mine, but for the Giveth DAC. And I totally support. We're having a photo taken of us in meeting mode right now. I totally support. More Dai going to the Giveth DAC.
Okay. So to amend and clarify, so there's this idea of dollar cost averaging, and it's like I can just I could do a big bulk. When the original plan was to do a big bulk right away, right? A big bulk transfer, but then Ether crashed like from 150 something to 120 something. And so I was like, fuck, I don't really want to transfer it all today. And so I just was like, okay, I'm gonna do a dollar cost average style, which is like just going every day and I'm trading it from ether to DAI, exchanging it from ether to DAI. And if it goes up that day, you exchange more. If it goes down, you exchange less, and you just do that. And but then these Lumios came out, so I had one ether left, so I stopped. And then and now, yeah, I will probably do there. I basically a little bit every day, hoping that it pumps, and then I'll do a bunch. And then if it goes down again, then do a little. But the goal is to have it done within a week. And of course, I'm transferring. Like there's the Unicorn DAC needs some transfers as well. So I'm like keeping track of it in a sheet, and then we'll just do whatever the exchange rate is over all of the transfers, like the total DAI I got for the total amount F. Then I'll split it between the Unicorn DAC and the DAC. I mean, it's basic accounting, but so unless there's objections, which I don't think there will be, proposal passed. Yeah.
Hey, thanks for doing all that work, by the way.
Yeah. Yeah. And so then next, there really isn't a next one. It's fireside chat time. So does anyone have a fireside chat topic?
Yeah. A quick thing, I just noticed while voting on the Lumio for the debt issue prioritization, that the issue numbers don't correspond to the things. Sorry, yeah, it seems like it. Like I just checked out issue 517, which was smart contract upgrades, because it's like I need more details, and 517.
That's really
Or
weird.
maybe I'm mistaken, but let's see if this is 443 and it's here 478. No, there's definitely something.
That's really. I usually just cut and paste, so I'm not quite. I have to take a look at that.
So the smart contract updates actually work. I might have been too fast on this. For sure, this one seems wrong. The issue 487 donate by simply sending to an address. But like errors happen. I just yeah. Thank you, Michael.
Yeah, no, I don't understand how that happened, because I just go along and click on the issue and copy the number right next to it. So that's really bizarre if that happened.
Griff just showed me. I think there might be just two issues with the same thing going. That's probably what it was. So I think you're in the clear. Actually, sorry, my bad.
So I do have a fireside topic request proposal, and it's to learn more about the thing that Michael just mentioned in the beginning of the that organization, that accelerator, etc. To just hear more about it and to maybe discuss in what way it could be, in what way we can work on this, on funding or on social coding link or whatever, where it fits and how we can make it work. It seems really interesting.
Sure. So it's really early, but I've gotten to know some of the people in the Montreal community that work on social projects. Now, these projects aren't necessarily they're not blockchain specific. These are just like, I'll give you an example. There's people in the city of Montreal that go around and they look for empty buildings that are just deserted, just nobody's using them. And they go in and they renovate them and they turn them into community spaces, or they make them into rentable meeting spaces. And so they're trying to, for example, revitalize the community. So they get involved in these kinds of projects, just social, good for community, good for cities, good for development. Cool. And so I've gotten to know them, and because of the, my interest in the blockchain space, I pitched to them this idea, well, how about extending that and creating a social impact blockchain accelerator? There are blockchain accelerators in Canada, but there's nothing that focuses specifically on social impact projects. So you could argue, a lot of the stuff that we have on the Giveth DApp are, they're kind of social. There's a social impact to those projects. So I threw that out there. They thought it was a great idea. Then this week they had people from Toronto and they organized a meeting, and I just went and met with, there was about 5 or 6 people, and I just pitched the idea, and they said, great, let's move this forward and tell us what you need. We want to do this, and we want to do it before anybody else does it. And then I pitched the idea, well, let's use the event in March to make an announceable, knowing that not all the T's are going to be crossed and the I's dotted, but let's get enough done that we could announce it at the event, maybe get some media attention, and then have something ready to go, by the end of the year, for example, or whenever we can. Maybe it could be earlier than that. So they seem very keen on that, and they just have said, what do you need us to do to support this idea? And sort of we're heading towards specifically what do we need to do to make this announceable in March. And so that opens up, it's totally open at this point. I was thinking probably something like this, you need people that have worked in the space, that have strong knowledge of social impact, strong knowledge of blockchain. Giveth seems to be that kind of organization that could provide that kind of knowledge. That's an easy win right there. The other thing that isn't clear yet is, what are the boundaries of it? Is it for local-based Canadian projects, or can we do things internationally? And they seem to be open to this idea of doing things internationally, that people might come to this accelerator and work in Montreal, but they could be international, so they could be all around the world. And that helps, the city put itself on the map, which might fit better into the kind of Giveth ecosystem, which is decentralized and global in scope too. The other idea I was thinking of is, how could we, could the DApp play a role somehow? Once we've, let's say, got it onto the XDAI, could there be a role there? And by the way, some of the projects like I'm seeing in Montreal are very into interesting token bonding curve models and things like that. There's a healthcare one that I know about that's heading in that direction, using curation markets. So there's those opportunities too, and those are also things that we can introduce potentially from the research that we're doing with Jeff and Block Science. Could also be kind of even a greater collaboration there if we're building out that kind of partnership with Block Science. So there's all these components I think could kind of fit together into some kind of interesting way, and how it's shaped is still to be determined. So now is a great time to kind of debate it and think about how we would want to shape that.
Yeah. I would say that we don't necessarily need to wait to XDAI to onboard people to the DApp. I would say by the time that Danny is back, I feel like we'll have one major upgrade, and then basically everyone that we add to the DApp, we just have to tell them, hey, we have this one really big upgrade that might break the DApp for a little bit. Watch out. And after that, we're pretty much golden. There shouldn't be a whole lot of drama. So I feel a lot more comfortable about adding people. Especially if this accelerator plans on actually using the DApp to donate, right? So if that's something that they're into, then hell yes, I want to use the DApp.
Yeah.
I want them to use the DApp. And that's, at least from my strategic point of view, there's no walls against getting someone who wants to put money on the DApp and donate.
Well, that's the other interesting thing that might make this different from a traditional accelerator, whereby we could also attract some people within the crypto community that might want to get behind this, and that could be a vehicle to increase donations through the DApp. So I think there's that opportunity. And the other thing, as I mentioned to Griff, and I think others, other idea of this event in March is I'm hoping and I'm banking on a surplus. I want a surplus of funds so that the attendees can then go in and use the DApp. So the idea is that we put the surplus money into a DAC, and then it starts to get people using the DApp and saying, hey, this is an interesting way to think about how we can democratically spend this money. So I think the other thing, though, is I think we probably need, in terms of getting this organized, we probably need some advisory roles here too, just to shape it.
But Michael, I have a question.
Yeah.
Do they have any background in blockchain? Any of those people, or not? Not at all.
Not at all. In fact, my interaction with them, I mean, I am essentially been talking to them about this blockchain. So really, this is it. This is the entry point for them to get into blockchain. So it's happening as we speak. They have been more traditional stuff, traditional social impact, poverty alleviation kind of projects and things like that. And now they see, I'm really the one that's been suggesting, maybe you should think about this kind of blockchain component. And so they seem to be very receptive. And they're social impact players in Montreal too. So they're significant.
And do they have? Yeah, no, sorry, forgot my question. But it's interesting to see. But I would maybe recommend, because you said we can do this and we can. You wanted to do a whole. Yeah, or you could maybe start small with indeed saying you can start them onboard. Yeah, that they onboard on the DApp, that they go through the process. But I don't know how if you want to do it all. It seemed a bit large, the scope of what you want to do with them, and maybe you can start with one aspect of it. So yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, I would start with just bringing in the knowledge of bringing in more blockchain knowledge into the thinking. So that's where I think Giveth can provide that knowledge. And we might also we might also recommend other individuals that we think could be influential, that might want to be part of this, that we know either in Canada or internationally. So that could be, those are like low-hanging fruit that would just kind of I mean, these are all things just to deepen that relationship, heading towards that launch. So how about I write some of these ideas down, and then people can kick it around just the way Lorelei did for the Giveth One PR story.
Yeah, that would be really cool.
We can kick it around and share our thoughts and figure out what is the entry point for Giveth, where we see our main value add, and also what do we get out of it, right? What does Giveth get out of this? One of the things we get out of it is maybe Giveth gets some funding somehow by providing, the DApp as a platform for the project. Maybe we get out of it that we're increasing the flow through funds to our onboarded DACs and campaigns and causes. Maybe that's a value for Giveth right there. And maybe, and it's just influence too. We're helping to shape as the world starts to get more involved in this area of social impact.
Yeah, I think that's a great idea, because otherwise it might be too much, too big of a thing that is maybe a bit unclear, and that might take too much of your time if it's not focused on what our role is and what they actually want to do, because it seems they want to do, we can give some guidance, but it's of course just one initiative. And the other thing, and I remember what I wanted to ask, is because you talk about funding, when they do the things they currently do they have a number of a group of people who are currently funding them for their initiatives, and are those people also interested in funding well, yeah, providing funding for an accelerator, because it's actually it's pretty different. Also, that part of what they would do then.
No, I mean they already are doing an accelerator. So they have they have a social impact accelerator. So they start groups with, these, like I said, like the folks that do this, they find vacant spaces in the city and they renovate them. That started as an idea of two people, and they had a early stage, incubation where they provide some funding and some guidance. And as far as I know, this is like has just grown very organically as an independent group of donors that believe in social impact, and they've started as one or two, and they've grown into a kind of a consortium of investors that believe in social impact. And so they're the easy part of this is they've already got a social impact accelerator, and they just want to add on a blockchain component to it.
Okay, I get it.
Never
Yeah.
did before.
Oh yeah, no. So it's actually collective, almost of they're the funding people themselves. So yeah.
Yeah.
And supporting people. Yeah.
But I think for the blockchain accelerator, we could think about a whole different there's whole, in the crypto space, there's kind of its own ecosystem of donors, right? As we know in Giveth, that could be tapped into.
Not only that, so the whole thing is great. I would just little repeat what Chris said, but you know that too. Like, be mindful of like you're sadly the only one like within Giveth in Canada right now. I mean, Griff knows this better than me, but we do have some Canadian friends, and you know them better than me, so you could probably make some links. I would definitely go in the direction of treating it as a blockchain, accelerator, and that means probably not only Giveth, but just have like a place for exchange and, like you say, building. And um, having said that, it just sounds like the perfect opportunity. And one question that would be very interesting for me is we are not able to receive any like official funding, because no bank account, right? Most usual grant programs are geared towards businesses, right, and this kind of, so even they might be a link to that, or we really need, I think, to develop further organizations that are more open to this kind of thing. And so I really
Right.
welcome this.
We're in a transitional phase right now, right? Between the sort of the old traditions and the new traditions. And so that is something that, we'll have to think through. And I think, I've talked to Griff briefly. I think Griff has already got some strategies and thoughts around how those things could be accomplished anyways. I mean, we can have a decentralized network of individuals that could receive funds for Giveth and be kind of a conduit where funds kind of go through those individuals to Giveth. Or I think it's got some things happening too that could work for up to a certain level of funding. So I think there's ideas there, and as we transition to a model whereby, if we got crypto donors involved in this accelerator, they may not care so much. But yeah, these are some of the challenges that would have to be worked through.
One of the most interesting things that can come out of it is that we can also see their problem set. Like, there will be, some, I did not know it was working like this kind of stuff, and they probably have to figure out some ways to deal with this whole crypto thing themselves, because they might be quite new. So it's a great place also for us to see where really the big hurdles are for people that are, or organizations that are open enough to even consider it, and like note down those roadblocks and see in conversation and dealing with them how we can solve them.
Yeah, and I actually think the Giveth model, the community space model, which we're in the process of really ramping up, where the donors and the recipients kind of talk to each other. There's there's a lot of really interesting value that Giveth can bring in terms of thinking about that stuff I haven't seen in a lot of other organizations. So I think there's a lot of knowledge in Giveth that we probably don't even recognize because we're so deep into it. So yeah, thanks for that. Is there any other comments?
I mean, I think we can. I have kind of one comment, but I didn't want to extend this topic too long because it's very early stages and it's exciting.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
I would say that there are lots of creative ways to be funded. Like, hey, if this accelerator hired you and you received a paycheck from them instead of us, boom, that's $600 a week, right? So like,
Yep.
you know, and that's totally legal.
Right. There's
Totally
that.
illegal.
That's totally legal. Yeah.
Everything's totally legal when you're no legal entity.
I don't know about that. Okay, but maybe we can change topics. Does anyone have anything else?
I do want to just like mention this this document. Can you guys hear me okay?
Yep.
Okay. I just wanted to mention this document that I sent out in the Unicorns channel. This was my shot at providing like just as much as possible an unbiased picture of like, you know, all the information that's worth considering when we make a decision on if and how the DAP team will be using the Giveth name, or if and how we are okay with them using it. And yeah, we have been talking with Wojtek, and like I learned a lot of things in this conversation with Wojtek that I felt like other people deserved to know about. And so I shared some of that there. And he definitely has a lot of like things coming up very quickly that like he's trying to do a press release, then like start all these partnerships. And so it really is the time. I think the last time we talked about it, it was like, oh, we have some more time to decide. But it sounds like we really need to make a decision and come to them with sort of a unified front on that. So this is my attempt to help us move towards that. If it works for people, cool. The way I envision using this is that for the next 3 days, people can add things to this document that are pieces of information that I missed, and I'm gonna try and keep it kind of curated so it doesn't get crazy messy in there. And then after that, probably turn the document into like the description of a Lumio proposal or a Lumio thread, and try and like churn out a proposal like pretty quickly on that. I'm hoping by the Gov meeting next week we can get into that party proposal round on like, are they using our name? Like, are we condoning this? What's the story, and what are the parameters? So yeah, that's basically it. And I would be happy for people to call me out on being like, maybe I'm being super unbiased or super biased with this information or manipulative. I don't know. I'm just trying to help us move towards something because we do kind of owe them and owe ourselves a real strategy on this.
Yeah.
So when do you want to discuss this next, Lorelai? You said?
So I want people to put all their input of information that I missed before Sunday evening. So you'll have the next 3 days to read over it, add things that should be there. And then I will take it into Lumio. And then by 1 week from today, the next governance meeting, we will try and
that's why I was confused. I just heard governance meeting, and I was like, that doesn't exist.
Oh yeah, that makes sense. Yeah, she'll get it one day. But yeah, should we be saying what our opinions are in this, so you can make an informed
So,
Lumio?
I
Or
feel
just
like, I
facts?
feel like on the Lumio thread is a way better place for opinions.
Okay, so this is just collecting facts.
Yeah, and not all information worth considering is necessarily a fact, and like what is a fact,
Fake news.
But I think when you guys read it, you'll kind of understand what types of things fit in that context. And then, yeah, I hope that we can share our opinions and how we feel about shit in the Lumio and in the reaction round at that meeting and in our chats with each other. But, this is an informed decision prerequisite to me, this document.
Cool. Well, it sounds like an announcement. I don't know. Is there any comments you're looking for?
It's an announcement, but how do people feel about this? Do you think it'll be useful?
I want to thank you for making this document. I haven't had the chance to read it. I'm reading it now, and it's very much needed to have a structured history, I think, of this. The only thing I'm thinking of, if we should maybe start earlier even than the point in time you started at with the flow of actions, but that's just a comment. You were not there, so I will think about if there is stuff to add. But thank you very much. It's so much needed, I think.
Yeah, I agree. I think it's a good good that you do this and to have an overview. So what I'll probably add is mostly like some links to conversations or to some things that we have, so that if you then share it, you're probably going to share something that is based on this or even the document on Illumio, but then people can just like click through to where that conversation happens, so that we have it all publicly in one place. I think it's a good thing to keep it open and objective and non-emotional. I think it's really good that you started this process. So thank you.
You're muted. Yeah.
I totally respect emotional decisions. I just want to say that emotions are like just as valid as facts in any decision making. And I say fuck it to the idea that they aren't. But there's a place for them. And this document isn't that.
I want to make so many jokes right now about women in blockchain and stuff like that, but they're not appropriate. They're not appropriate.
Go ahead and mute me then.
Yeah, he did not come to the inclusivity panel yesterday. What can I do? So I do think there's always a place for emotions, but this. So even in this document, or at least it's my concern, we should diffuse as much as possible any jabs maybe,
Yeah.
which they are fun, but this is already an open document, so this is already a shared document, so maybe the people that it's addressing to have already read it. There's it's hard to know. No, just like haha, he said that, or yeah. No, just stuff like that. There's it's unfortunately no place to be funny anymore, as much as we love to be funny.
I think it's really good, Lorelai, what you did. I feel like it's always in the back of people's heads, and I don't feel like we've properly addressed it. So getting things down on paper is good. And I'm still, my opinion, I'm sort of optimistic that with good communication, some of this could be resolved fairly easily. So I feel like what has been missing is the communication. And I think, Illumio is good, but I also think, maybe someone needs to talk to Grace in addition to Wojtek. Wojtek has been great in terms of talking with us, but we haven't heard much from Grace. So it would be nice just to kind of sort that out, and then we can move on.
Yeah, I think a really important next step of this process is like an ideas for next steps. So maybe that'll go right into the Lumia, but maybe I'll make another page or something for. Actually, I already did make another document for like proposed parameters or like conversations that need to happen first. Being like, oh, we need to talk to Grace about this before a decision can be made, or oh, there needs to be a rule about which medium permission she has, or something like that. So yeah, Michael, the place to document your ideas on that will be soon before you.
Great.
Sorry, I was a little distracted. But yeah, I think this is a great starting point, and we have a Lumia to go forward. So I think it's cool. I do want to transition to another topic if possible. Any last? No? Okay, so something I think that should be started. We're starting to work on a white paper for a token bonding curve thing with block science. That might be a really strong funding stream for us. So the idea is that we might actually be doing I can't believe I'm saying, but like almost like a token sale pre-funding round.
What?
So,
An ICO?
yeah, it sounds like it might happen. It wouldn't be for us, of course. It would be very DAO. It would be focused on like token engineering in general. So like basically creating a token bonding curve curation market that lives on top of the Giveth platform, but that uses the Giveth platform, and it's its own independent thing. But we would get funding to make the Giveth platform more robust and to make it work with DAOs and curation markets, right? So the idea would be that we sell tokens in advance before we actually create tokens, and then use that money. We wouldn't even sell the tokens. We would sell the access to be the first people to buy into the token bonding curve, which is I think a pretty good model because we don't actually have to sell tokens, which would give us problems with SEC stuff. Instead, we're selling access to the premier spot, which is the first buyer of a token bonding curve, which is always like when you look at these token bonding curves, they're like kind of an S curve, right? Or maybe sometimes they're even like this. Basically, the ones we're looking at are either like this, where they go off to some kind of number out in the future, or they're like an S. But either way, the price starts off really low. So the first people who buy into token bonding curves have a huge advantage. So what we'd be selling is access to that. And we'd use the funds to build the token bonding curve curation market and make Giveth more robust to work with those two pieces, probably on XDAI. And then we would go from there to it being a completely independent thing that really we have nothing to do with. But it would be for supporting token engineering in general and open sourcing the SimCAD tool. And most of the money will go to block science. It's really more of a block science ICO. But because Giveth's infrastructure is a part of it, and I also expect we would help with the crowdfunding like stuff during that phase, we would also get a nice stack of funding from it.
And the question, Griff, is it under the name of then that project? Will it be under blockchain science name? Are they doing the token bonding curve thingy, or are we? Is it Giveth or is it block science?
Neither of us. It'll be a new thing. It's kind of like the DAO, right? I kind of see it as like block science and Giveth and maybe another organization that will help us as well. Would be like the DAO, right? The Aragon DAC will probably be coming into it for sure. Like, well, specifically Daniel and Gabby, because we'll need their help to build curation markets on top of Aragon. So, I mean, really, all of this whole system is just it's using the Giveth DApp as an open space where it can be one actor in a system. So, like anyone who wants to do something cool with token engineering and like they have some idea, like some token bonding curve they want to research or something they want to gather funds for, they make a proposal, they propose a milestone on the Giveth DApp, and then the curation market pulls out of there. But if the curation market fails, no problem, they can still get funding for their project, right? Like that's the magic of using Giveth. It creates this open system where they're just one actor in it, as opposed to people proposing directly to the DAO and then, oh, the DAO's dead. Well, guess what? Everything's dead, right? So we would help them a lot. Obviously, we have been helping them a lot, and we would continue to help them a lot. But this is more of a block science thing. They are getting the bulk of the funds, and they're doing the bulk of the work. But we will want to. I'm very excited about this because basically they're cool with us, with me kind of playing product owner to a point. And also I'll probably, this is like, there's always been this thing in the back of my head where I can, I have this place in the community of respect and trust. And so I will, this is like kind of me cashing that in basically. So that is a dangerous thing. And, it's a one-time thing. So but I think it's worth it, because the whole point is if we can start developing these types of models and we can really realign the incentive mechanisms in, tragedy of the commons issues and free rider issues.
Cool. And will they be, just to understand it, like the token, when they're like making milestones for work that's being done on this, will the payments, will they be done in that token that you're launching, or in just in DAI or something?
So the current design is that the payments would be enumerated in DAI, but they would actually be paid out in tokens. And this is probably what's kind of cool here is this will actually, the way I see it being implemented in my head is we would use the plugin feature of the DApp. And so they would raise it in DAI, right? But it would actually be, they would be giving science tokens at the current exchange rate. So like the DAI would actually be sent to the token bonding curve, and science tokens would be given to the people who asked for the DAI. So people would be paid in science tokens, but everything would be enumerated in DAI, kind of where everything was in dollars, and then we'd pick an exchange rate. But instead, the exchange rate would happen right at the moment. So it will likely be on XDAI, I'm pretty sure.
Is that going to be the official name, science tokens, or is that just a work name?
No, I don't want to. They can't be called science tokens. I'm sorry.
I can choose the name.
Yeah, I hope so.
I can choose the name. It'll probably be like TER coin.
Bondage token.
Bondage. Yes, S&M.
Bondage.
Thank you. We are just having a conference.
Okay, so any other comments on this? I'll say that right now I'm just early stages. We're still block science and Giveth. Block science, so mostly Michael Zargum and Jonathan from Block Science are still working with Josh and Jeff and I to still get aligned on actual movement forward, but we're pretty close. We've already had a couple backs and forths of potential white paper things, and we're going to have a call either tonight or tomorrow to really nail it down for a path forward. We're looking at legal situations in Switzerland and how to do it and this kind of thing. So, but I think it's a really strong potential.
Yeah, definitely. I just wanted to say, if you have indeed, at some point, don't hesitate to think, if you have anything that you want read, of just to have a stupid outsider, how to read it and to see hey, do I get it? I'm always interested to read something as soon as it's ready to for an outsider to see hey, is it clear what this is gonna be about? And yeah, I'm always happy to read stuff.
Definitely. No, and I imagine that a lot of this, whatever money we do get, it'll be like, oh, well, comms will get a lot of money because comms will be doing a lot of work for this. And governing, anybody who puts in time working on this project would end up getting paid, which would be really cool from the project as opposed to from Giveth. And I assume it would donate on the DApp, and we'd figure out how all that works.
Bondage tokens, yay! I want them.
I have one other quick comment, not related to this, although kind of related to the last Lumio, but it kind of relates to this too, which is, with all these currency fluctuations, has there been any thought of like, if donate, I don't know how to do it, but is there any way that like anonymous donations could be, like you were saying about dollar cost averaging the donation into the system, like thinking about investing tokens, so like 20% go into the DApp and the 80% are somehow professionally invested or something like that, instead of just holding them in DAI and waiting? Or would that break the kind of rules of the how the DApp would work?
No, not at all. I mean, the way that it works now is basically you would make a milestone that says, hey, we want to take this ether and actually invest it, professionally in blah, blah, XYZ. Like Kai was saying, hey, we should do a fee. We could do that. We could just say, hey, I have a proposal to move this money to a CDP, and here's, and then it's like, okay, or maybe like, what would probably happen, or what might be easier, is like, hey, I've created this CDP for 10 ether just now, and I would love to have it be for Giveth and manage it for Giveth, and then send me 10 ether so you can buy it effectively. And then that's how I would do it, at least, because I have liquidity.
Okay. Yeah.
And
I was thinking
we
about,
did that. We did that with Argon DAC, actually.
Okay.
We turned everything into DAI. But yeah, and hopefully, I'm just so excited about token bonding curves, because then it's like, hey, guess what? Donating to Giveth is an investment. Like we could actually create a token bonding curve for the Giveth DAC or the Unicorn DAC, right?
Right.
And funds come in. We spend those funds, and if people think Giveth is doing a good job, they'll buy more tokens. If people don't think they're doing a good job, then they'll sell those tokens. And, ideally we could have a continuous funding model where people are incentivized to support us because, hey, we're still working and pushing in a positive direction. So.
Yeah, that sounds amazing. I think that's definitely the direction to go.
Yeah. Does anyone have more skeptical opinions? Hi, Owen.
Yeah, I would just say like that it's probably very important to communicate very well within Giveth as well, like how you're planning to proceed with this, so that we all stay aligned and well informed, because this is, of course, a part of the Giveth thing that you're for the moment very enthusiastic and very much involved in and know a lot about together with Jeff. But yeah, to just keep it clear to the outside world, like what we're doing, and that we also keep agreeing on what we're doing. I think it's good to like keep everyone well informed, which you're doing right now. So thank you very much.
Yeah, I will say that my current strategy, which I don't know if this is the way it would go, but it's not to advertise any of this publicly for a long time. We probably raise the money. We create like a little 2-pager that explains things basically to people that I talk to, people that Block Science talks to, and we see how much money once we have a legal entity, we see how much money we can raise just by passing a 2-page document around to some, people who are excited about these kinds of ideas. And, we'd probably only try to raise like $2 million or something, which in this space is relatively easy. Then, most of that money would go to Block Science, but we would get, maybe 100K or something, or 200K, and that could be divvied out for work rendered that we do to support this. But yeah, but that work to support it would be building the dApp. You know. Another thing that came up this week that I forgot, off topic. But so do Bowen or Kai, do you guys have anything? You haven't talked on this.
I just want to say that I'm a constant advocate for even forking more functionality out of the dApp into specialized interfaces. But that's me, because one of the things that will happen here, and with all the ideas we discussed, is it will increase complexity of a software that's already pretty heavy on the complexity stuff. Like I say, my course of action would be like to mitigate via like directed asymmetric user interfaces targeted to the donors and the impact investors, and the pro version that encompasses all of it. I just want to throw this out there, and I do actually like following, which is also kind of off topic. Want to come back to Michael very soon with some visuals of I had an epiphany while going to sleep of like how our user experience should be like, and I'll just throw it at you at some point. And this would be a very interesting conversation for me, because for me the nice thing about having blockchain backends is that it's very easy actually to abstract away different front ends for basically the same system. And I know this needs a lot of work, and this would probably need more teams, but that would also lead to more resilience. And so the chance of one of those products not fitting the intended audience is also like mitigated in terms of like the Giveth risk, because there would be other ones. This is probably a long-term thing. That's my 2 cents. I'm very very much looking forward to all these things. Like for those who haven't been at Aracon, like bonding curves are the talk of town here. We've seen them in Aragon's their fault. Aragon's dispute model that's coming up, and I just saw a talk about a crazy project. I forgot the name. Clover. It was Cloverfield.
Yeah.
Check out Cloverfield, which is like a gamified version of like minting NFTs, and they are playing also with bonding curves and such. So the topic is huge. It's the talk of town. I'm very glad that we're on this. So thank you, Griff and Jeff, and who has working on this. And for the operations, the most important thing is to be in good relationship with the partner, Block Science in this case. I haven't talked to them personally, but as far as I see, there's great synergy here. And so thanks, guys, for the initiative. It's crazy what you can do with programmable money.
I don't think that I had much to add either. I find the whole thing fascinating. I'm still learning about it because there's hinting around the idea of doing something with the token bonding curves at East Denver. But I think it's really cool. Let's see where this goes.
Cool. So the other thing that I mentioned to Michael, but I haven't mentioned to anyone else, you remember Rafa, who wants to do liquid lending in Mexico, and he's in Tijuana next month. And I'm going to go to Tijuana after F Denver and go hang out with him and maybe hire a dev or two. He has like a co-working space, not even co-working space, just an office that's way bigger than he wants, but he wants to like rent out office space and help people pay for devs there. And he said that he'd be willing to give us one of his senior devs that's already been working in the blockchain space for a while for him to work on the dApp with us. We would just pay for the office space, and they make like $20K a year there. So we could actually get a dev, experienced dev for, total, for 6 months, like, $2,000 a month, which is like we're paying RJ $2,000 a week. So
That's significant.
Yeah, and he would probably work more than that. So it would take training and it'd be fun, but he would give us somebody for like, a few months or something like that, like one of his more senior devs, and then we would hire somebody. I'll go down there and try to hire a dev, or at least interview a few and see what we can find, and then we would he would work in that office. So cons there is time zone. Have another Bowen. All right, I had one, man. Now we have another.
Who knows? Maybe we have another RJ and he's an early riser.
It's true. That's true. Could be an early riser. Sorry, Bowen. Just kidding. And but yeah, but the pros are, of course, starting some kind of being part of a dev community in Tijuana, supporting that economy, and honestly, it's a half an hour drive from San Diego, so it's not like it's not the it's not hard to get to, and maybe, hey, wouldn't it be fun to go to Tijuana, guys? We're gonna have the next Giveth meetup there. The other piece of that is that if anyone does want to go to Tijuana, then they have an office, and they said that we could sleep there, it's kind of a Giveth office.
Oh,
They have like
fun.
6 beds and shower, but it's more of an office space. So it's nice.
So just for me as like an Austrian person, isn't Tijuana a very dangerous place, or has stuff happened? Just asking, really, like you heard crazy things.
Of course. Yeah, I'm sure there's some gangs or something in Tijuana, but there's a lot of gangs in LA too. So it's like I went. There's probably we'll talk to. Luckily, we know people there. We'll talk to Rafa. He said that his office is in a very nice neighborhood. But I mean, Rafa is from Switzerland, so like or not from Switzerland. He lives in Switzerland, so I wouldn't. He would understand culture shock if there was an issue like that, for sure. Because like Switzerland's very different than Tijuana, but I think just like LA or Vienna, even there are certain neighborhoods you shouldn't walk around at night, looking like a tourist with a fanny pack, right? Like probably not a good idea. But no, Tijuana's like just
my wife's parents, they go to Tijuana all the time, and they have friends that just cross the border all the time. So it's totally like Griff said. There's parts that are absolutely fine. Tijuana.
I actually was half of a joke. I mean, I am kind of coming from the countryside, and you would be surprised. Vienna has zilch crime, zero, nothing. You can leave a baby in the night in the street, nothing will happen. They will carry it back to you with attach a tag. But so I can just say I love Mexico, and it sounds like a really cool thing. I also think I maybe mixed up Tijuana with Juarez, which is I think a bit of crazier place. So sorry, my bad. I don't want to drag this out. Very cool initiative.
Yeah, we are way over time, so maybe we can close it out. I don't know unless anyone has any comments they want. Cool. Well, then, thank you guys.
Okay.
Yeah, checkout. That's my checkout. Thank you. Excited about all these things.
Great Gov meeting. Really appreciate people's feedback. God. Okay, I appreciate your feedback, Chris. And I will pass it to Bowen. I'm jealous of your storm.
Oh my God. It is such a crazy, huge storm. Like, evidently, Jordan from My Crypto's house just shook because lightning struck so close. Yeah, it's coming down like crazy out here. Awesome meeting. I look forward to seeing whoever's coming to ETH Denver. And we have a little tiny surprise gift for you when you get here. And check out the calendar in Social Coding, and whoever wants to see what the bridge monitor will look like as soon as it gets updated, stick around and chat me up. And I'll pass it over to Michael.
Yeah, great meeting. I learned a lot today, so that was really great. And looking forward to hearing more about the Ergon next week. And I'll pass it over to Kai.
So thank you everybody for this very cool meeting. A special thank goes to Griff, who was really holding it down and we are having this community meeting. It's great. Thank you for that. Because it is so interesting here, and we are the last people sitting here. So actually, everybody's drinking beer over there, which is where I will be in 2 minutes. So thanks, and see you next week, I guess, and on chat.
Okay. Yeah. So thanks for a very nice meeting. I just posted something, a picture of us, the four of us sitting here in a row, which I think is so funny, that we just all flock together like this. And it was a very busy 3 days, but it's always so good to talk and to come back together. So thank you. And I give it to, I think Michael still has to go.
No,
Yeah.
I went.
Oh, sorry. Is it everyone? Okay. Bye, guys. See you soon. Bye.
Bowen, I want to see it so fucking bad. Can you give me can you do it in like 1 minute?
Yeah, it's super easy because you've seen most of it. I just now it's not stupid. So just give me 1 second and I'll share the screen.
They're literally kicking us out. So I'm gonna.
Okay, here you go. All right, so this is where the regular screen is that comes up. So this basically looks the same, except now if you notice up at the top, it has incoming transactions and outgoing transactions.
Oh, nice. Nice. Way better.
Okay, so if you look into this, it tells you what network it is rather than like, the incoming deposit. So you can see the event coming in on Ropsten here and the event coming in on Rinkeby over here, which is just showing because of the network that I'm connected to.
That's cool, man. Like, are you a UX guy? I guess you are for this because
I am for this.
You have to use it all the time.
Yeah, this is not showing the right network because it was showing mainnet before, so I need to figure out why it's showing that. So where it says Ropsten, it should say mainnet because it's pulling from a config file. That was working.
Say that again.
The network names are coming from the configuration file that tells it what network to point at to look for the info.
Oh yeah.
So all of that I had to redo it so it goes from left to right. So the Ropsten, which is actually mainnet, over to Rinkeby, and then here from Rinkeby over to Ropsten. So it actually looked like stuff is traveling from left to right in the monitor, like it.
Nice.
So there, that's basically it. Now I'm gonna pull it and reset up the pull request for Archie to look at.
Yeah, well, I'm sure RJ will love to see it. I mean, I guess I think you're the only one. You and me, and maybe Voice a little, are the only ones who use this thing. So it's I think we appreciate it. I know I love it, man. It just, the thing was so bad when we first started looking at this.
Yeah, and there was so many errors in it that were slowing it down from working because there were a lot of like syntax errors and mislabeled variables and stuff that were throwing like pages of errors that I took care of already. So it's working faster now, which is
okay. Sorry. Yeah, man. No, I mean, clearly huge improvement. I'm glad you can have fun working on that, man.
Yeah, I hope to do more. I'd like to completely redo the interface so it looked cooler, but I'm not quite there yet. I'm still a debugger, but I'm getting there. But cool. I guess we'll see you in like a week and a half or something, huh?
Say that again. The internet cut out on me.
Oh, I said, I guess we'll see you in about a week and a half.
Hell yeah, man. So soon.
All right, you take care. We'll talk to you soon.